Hi, welcome back to the channel. If you think fixing this car is difficult, you want to try making videos. This is a second attempt, could consider it a third attempt even. So if you haven't seen some of my videos lately, or you're new to the channel, let me give you the background story. Mostly I do like videos working on the car, and I mean they're popular and I enjoy working on the car, I do. But I want to do like the other side of the story, which is like using the car, going out, enjoying it, going places, the adventure side of things. I did a video where I went up to Yorkshire back in 2014, and that is always in the top 10 videos. So I think there is sort of a call for it. People do like it, and obviously I can do a lot better now than I did in 2014, so I might even go back and remake that video. Anyway, I recently went down to see my son in Hampshire, and I thought that would be an ideal opportunity to sort of have a practice run at making a travel video, because it is a different concept to fixing cars. And essentially, in terms of making a video, it was a complete disaster. Two problems mainly. The in-car camera work, which used to be a problem before, I did kind of find a way around it, and that is camera shake and generally blurry footage. Also, you tend to worry about battery usage and memory card usage to a degree. The second point is, of course, actually filming the location. Well, I decided to deal with the in-car footage problem first, and I decided to get round it by upgrading to a dash cam, the 322GW Nextbase dash cam. So in essence, this video is a bit of a review test run of that dash cam and what the footage quality is like. Hopefully it will solve the problem of battery, because it powers from the car, and I can get a 128 gig memory card which holds like 16 hours of footage, so that's not going to be a problem. But the other thing is, and I'm going to show you the footage in a minute, the other thing is with using the phone as the camera, to save the battery and to save the memory, you tend to like turn it on and off, and you then miss critical footage that, you know, it was the good stuff. And as I say, I'm going to show you that probably now. Heading to the local town to get something to eat and drink, when we sort of run into the typical bank holiday traffic. Now, James noticed a sign for a little pub. Unfortunately, at that point I turned the camera off to save batteries, and because I was getting fed up with the fact that it was shaking around so much. So I didn't get the footage of the sort of information sign pointing to this little pub down this side road, which would have really helped because it would add to the storyline. So then we find this absolutely stunning little pub And here's a photo of the pub, but here is the actual footage, and as you can see, it is completely unusable. Here is another example of the problems that I was facing. Was we took the back roads through the forest back to Eastleigh, and we came across these New Forest ponies just wandering around in the road. Now this footage is okay because we were driving very, very slowly, but it is still slowed down and heavily stabilized to try and make it half reasonable. This is the raw footage, unstabilized and unslowed down. So the other camera, I got a couple of these little cheap sort of action cameras. Now I've got two, a yellow one and a black one. The black one actually gives quite a good picture, but the power supply lead on it is broken, so I can only power it from the battery. And that only gives you about half an hour, 40 minutes if you're lucky, and then that's dead. So that's not really good for filming in the car. So there's two main scenes you want in the car. It's out the front screen and this you seeing me so I can talk to you. So with the yellow camera, that gives quite a good picture as long as what you're filming is not more than about 3 or 4 foot away. So it's good enough for the in-car work, and I can power it. It's got car mode and I can power it from the car. So I went off to Maldon, and I'm going to show you the Maldon footage too, to test out this dash cam. And I was convinced I was going to get some brilliant footage. So it's the sort of the cheapest one they do that does 60 frames per second, because 60 frames per second gives you a much sharper image than 30 frames per second. So if you want a good quality dash cam, try and get one that does 60 frames per second. So I went off to Maldon. So this is it. So we went to Hampshire. That was a disaster. We went off to Maldon. I got back from Maldon and absolutely nothing on the memory card. Completely empty. The dash cam hadn't recorded nothing. I was gutted. Turns out to be essentially it didn't like the Kingston memory card. I swapped it out for a ScanDisk memory card. All my memory cards are class 10 because obviously I record video. Swapped it out for a ScanDisk memory card, and it started working. But of course that was another trip out, more fuel, more time. Got the Maldon footage, which I will discuss in a while, or show you and discuss in a while. And no driving footage. So what I've done, this is now the third attempt. We're going off to a local park. Now this time I've got the roof up because the weather's a bit iffy today. And when I went to Maldon the weather was nice, and so I had the roof down. But I'm still going to do kind of the same concept. When I get to the park, I'll run the Maldon footage, so it kind of works out like you've driven there, though I haven't. I've driven to the park, if that makes sense. And then we'll discuss the Maldon footage and the situation with that. So that's it really. We just head for the park now, and you can see what you think of the dash cam footage and make your own judgments on the quality of it. The other thing I forgot to mention, of course that's covered the video side of things, is the audio side of things. Now I've got the Tascam audio recorder, which is absolutely brilliant. It's a fantastic piece of kit. Anyone's thinking about getting one, or video work, but to turn it on and off is a two-handed job, so you can't really turn it on and off when you're driving. So that again means if you're using it while you're driving, you've got to keep it turned on all the time. And if you're driving somewhere like the West Country or up to Yorkshire, you've got 4 or 5 hour drive, you don't really want it turned on for that long. But my other lapel microphone works with the Samsung phone. It never worked with the Sony phone, but it works with the Samsung phone. And obviously I have my phone for hands-free and sat-nav in the car, so it's nice and easy to use the voice recorder on the phone. I've got the lapel mic on the sun visor, and I just use the voice recording app on the phone for in-car recording. And it's dead easy to just stop it and start it as and when you want. So that covers that side of things. This is going to be fun. Yeah, this is going to be fun. You have to be careful those potholes don't drop the front bumper onto the ground. I did while I was down in Hampshire, scraped the bumper twice. Once just coming out of a petrol station. It really doesn't always give you any great clues as to when it's going to catch the ground. Sometimes, you know, you can see that it's going to be a problem. Other times it will catch the ground when really it shouldn't have at all. 2 metres, I reckon this will fit under that. If not, we can always put the roof down. Righty, do-de-do-de-do. This will do nicely. So anyway, the first thing I'm going to do before we run the Maldon clip, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to have a look this time and see if it's bloody recorded the footage coming to the park here, because otherwise this is a third attempt that's a complete waste of time. Right, so I'm just going to have a look and see what we got. I mean, you would already know because you've been watching it. Okay, all I need to do actually is check that it's got, yes, we have files. Oh, what's it done there? Yeah, it seems to have recorded. Okay, all right, good. Right, so that I think has covered the camera problem. So hopefully now we've got the in-car side of things covered. I'm going to leave the cameras in the car. I'll show you some B-roll of all the cables. I've got to tidy up all the cabling. I'll show you some B-roll in a minute. I've got bloody power cables and what's-it cables all over the joint for these cameras. So I've got to tidy them up a bit. So now we'll run the Maldon footage, and you'll see the kind of trying to figure out how best to film locations. So I'll be back in a moment. We're in Maldon, and this is where the second sort of issue comes with making day trip, road trip, travel type videos, is I never really know what to say about a place. I mean, obviously some places that's no problem at all, they're fantastic locations, but some aren't. I mean, Maldon, it's a small town to the east of Chelmsford, about a 20-minute drive, and it's on the Blackwater, which is a river. I'll explain that because I always think Blackwater is a bit of a weird name for a river. So anyway, so that's the next thing we're going to do while we're here, is try and kind of figure out how to really show Maldon at its best, and what sort of footage to try and get, and what sort of things to say about it. So let's have a go, see how it comes out. So I suppose really I need to start trying to get some B-roll of the place and some B-roll of me just lazing around. I might have already said this, but one thing I notice, I don't come here very often, but every time I have come here, the tide is out and it's just all mud. It's a bit odd. Here's the thing, I was trying to capture that nice relaxed atmosphere that you've got here, because it's very quiet and laid back. Just had a coffee and a cake on a boat. Yeah, you kind of like, you know, feel obligated to get those dramatic cinematic shots that make the place look a million times better than what it really is. That's the thing, a lot of the travel and a lot of the road trip videos are about action and excitement, and to be truthful, sometimes it's just getting to the point where you can just chill out and relax and laze about for a while.
Well, that church is always open. If you do get here, it's always open. You could have gone in there.
Oh.
So the guy playing the organ, so that would have been.
That would have been. Oh, what's that now?
There's a tug called Brent. That was a river tug on the Medway and the Thames.
Oh, right.
And that one there, the lighter thing called Sailor Boy, that's a blind or a dumb one. That used to be towed about by tugs in the old days. And that's going to be a static display now. They're not going to power that up or do anything with that.
They're just going to put it on the show.
They're basically a hollow inside with a silver cargo with it.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. Thank you. It's interesting.
But the barges, I don't know, they've got turn of the century, I suppose. Something like that.
Yeah.
About 1910, I think those pieces.
They are beautiful.
Yeah.
They really are.
Some of them steel hull, most of them wooden hull.
Yeah.
But they're flat, so when the tide goes, that basically.
They just sit on they just sit on the mud. Yeah. Well, there we go. That's a bit of a result. It was an interesting chat with that chap there that just came out of the church, told us a bit. We'll go and have a look at the tug and get some footage on the tug. The camera's weaving around a bit at the moment. I didn't really get much footage of B-roll of me. There's nowhere really I can get any B-roll of me, to be honest. Let's go and have a look at this tug. Right, so I've tried to sort of capture what we can, and that chat with that chap, I don't know if the microphone picked that up or not. I hope it did. The battery hasn't gone flat. But like I say, I didn't really get a huge amount of B-roll of me. But I'm going to head back to the car now because I'm a little concerned about how long we got left on the parking ticket. Right, so that was the Maldon footage. it wasn't as bad actually as I initially thought. When I first started trying to edit it, I thought, oh, this is all rubbish. The first thing I want to say, it sounds like I'm saying Maldon is not a very nice place, and I'm not at all. Maldon is a lovely place. What I'm saying is, I find when I get to a location, I find it difficult to try and decide what things I should shoot and what things I shouldn't shoot, because they don't always come out and you know, make themselves super obvious. But I've got to remember to lock the focus and lock the exposure, because you do see some flickering in some of the shots, which are annoying, and I've got to figure out how to get the footage smoother, because I'm still not getting some of those smooth movements. You know, I've got to work on that. So I mean, if anyone's got any ideas, anyone that does the making video tutorials watches this, and you've got any tips or suggestions, or you want to do a collaboration, let me know, and maybe we can work together and try and benefit from it. So yeah, so that's what you got. You've got the in-car stuff, and you've got the location stuff. So what we're going to do now is we're going to head back home. I've got to go and get some petrol, and then I'm going to put all this on the computer and edit it, and hopefully it will come out better than it came out going to Maldon. But it gives you some idea of what's involved trying to do this. Okay, let's head for home.